Well, thank you, Jordan. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I know it's often at the end of the semester, you've probably just finished getting your grades in and you're looking for a little bit of rest and restorative time. So thank you so much for taking time today. And it really is my pleasure to work with John Fauci today to really share with you strategies of helping you be more successful in your teaching and your students in their learning experience in the world that we're living in today. So next slide, John.
I can do this.
All right. So, and just, you know, John and I have known each other for many years. We've worked with O'Donnell Learn, and it really, partnerships really help you succeed in when you're really faced with many challenging situations. And as we all know, we've gone through, the pandemic has overwhelmed us all. And when we're thinking about how we're managing our personal and professional lives, suddenly moving online in the Cal State system, for example, where I am, you know, within 3 weeks, having to take what you did face to face and creating an alternative mode of instruction and engaging in technology in ways that I never thought I would have to do so quickly, really became how am I going to do this? And all the other things, helping my students learn and how are they feeling and engaging them. Then you also have all the other aspects about how a department, all these things that went through us, I think has really forced us and to transform the way we are delivering education and supporting it. So next slide. So with these changes, how do we manage all these things? Do we do it all ourselves, right? Do I say, oh my goodness, now I have to, as a faculty member, I'm a cognitive psychologist by training. Do I have to become an instructional designer? Do I have to become a technology expert? Do I have to become a librarian for the World Library of Educational Content and curate material on top of all my subject matter expertise? Or do I say, how can I get help from other people, right? How do I use their expertise and tools? And guess what? We have to do both of those. And so what we're really looking at here and thinking about how we can bring our unique capabilities that we have, right? Our subject matter experts, our pedagogical strategies, and our academic programs, and us as faculty, subject matter experts, teaching online. But how do we work on this, finding the content that's really good and the tools that are important and the engagement activities and designing an instructional process? It really becomes, again, overwhelming. So blending who you are as your unique things that you bring to the table and blending it with what other, there are thousands of other faculty who are teaching intro to psych or cognitive psychology or human factors or things along those lines. So the question is really, how do we bring the skills and make what I'm going to deliver to my students that combination of the unique things, but can do it in a more efficient and effective way? So how do we get these skills to the table? So next slide. And, MERLOT, we've been at this for 25 years, striving to help you as a faculty member. How do I find content easily that I can bring to my students? How do we help you design with open educational practices so that students can develop the skills and knowledge that are required in your program, right? And what's important about our strategy too is using open educational resources, especially during COVID when the economic impact hit so many of our students, that having free access to the educational content that they would have the first day of class can really help us deal with the crisis that we're all dealing with. So why is MERLOT engaging this? Because we believe that education is going to create that opportunity that will allow our students to be successful in their lives. So thinking about affordable learning solutions and bringing all these skills together is a really important aspect. So next slide. So when we look at this, when you're overwhelmed, the challenge is it often, how do I think about managing all these things? So John, if you don't mind hitting the button and just using a metaphor, right? If suddenly you're running a restaurant, right? And you have a vision of what you have, but do you have all the ingredients that you need to make these really exciting dishes? Do you have the recipes that you want? Do you have the tools? And do you have the staff to help? And most of the time, I know I often feel like the person there trying to make something that I wish, but struggling to make it happen. So what we're looking at with this program, Concierge for MERLOT, is really saying, how do we bring partners to the table that can help me in the unique things that I want to teach in my class and, in a sense, deliver the recipes for a quality education, help me with the tools and technology and ingredients so I can really be successful. So thinking about running a restaurant and you being the chef, and what does it help you to be successful? So that's going to be a bit of the metaphor we're going to use today. So next slide. So when we look at this, what's the role that MERLOT and Skills Commons can play? So if you're hitting the button, John, we're kind of the ingredients, right? And we want to try to fill up your pantry of ingredients so you can easily take those ingredients and mix them in a way and serve them for your students. So next slide. And many of you are familiar with MERLOT, and hit the button again, John. We've been around for 25 years. For those who may not know, we're an open library, free and open for everyone around the world with internet connection. Next button. And we have almost 100,000 free and online instructional materials across anthropology to zoology. Next. And what's really important is, how does all this stuff get there? MERLOT is a communities library, meaning all of you are members who can contribute into the MERLOT library and keep it free and available for everyone. Next slide. And if you're not familiar with it, go have fun. MERLOT.org is that, again, one of those pantries of ingredients for instructional materials that you can use. And if you're not familiar with the website, that's the web page. Next slide. And we present it in a way that you can find animations and simulations. And again, all the ingredients for an effective pedagogical strategy. We have editorial boards to help curate, make sure the ingredients are good. And also, if you didn't know that, MERLOT searches 70 other instructional libraries to help you find what's out there easily. So next slide. One of the challenges is often looking at virtual labs. And if you're not familiar, MERLOT has a virtual labs, a portal that lets you find biology, chemistry, physics. So hit the button, John. All these different disciplines where we often, and one more button, and all the different disciplines to help you find more interactive experiences, particularly in the STEM areas. So next slide. For those who are in community colleges focusing in on workforce development, what are the manufacturing skills, IT, healthcare, agriculture, construction? There's another library out there. It's called Skills Commons, free and open. So hit the button. That's available. And just so you know, this has been created by MERLOT. What created the library, but funded by the U.S. Department of Labor to 700 community colleges to create open education resources that are downloadable files for you. And so that little picture there just gives you an image of all the different type of content that's available for you. Next slide. So that was kind of a quick run through to say, all right, where can I find all these ingredients to help make it easier for me to bring all these exciting interactive materials to the table? MERLOT has that. Now the next, hit the button, next is, but now you as the chef can go to your pantry and pull these things out, but what else? Is that all you need, right? And if you remember the first picture, no, you need equipment, you need recipes, you need help. So next button, John. And this is where O'Donnell Learn and ISG bring these tremendous resources to the table. And as I mentioned before, MERLOT has worked with O'Donnell Learn over the years to look at how we can take the content in the MERLOT and Skills Commons library and then create effective learning experiences with the least burden on faculty's time and effort here. So next slide. So again, just to remind you that the program we're talking about here, the concierge, and think about, when you go to a new city and you say, oh, where could I go for an Italian restaurant? Someone who knows how to do this and where is it easy and quick to find, that's the critical role that the concierge can play. And a concierge in education can bring the help and expertise into your educational kitchen. So again, just showing you, John, hit the button again, to say the concierge, the role that O'Donnell Learn ISG is to bring all the capability to you in your kitchen so you can be successful. So next. So one of the things, we can talk about this. So one of the things we did is we said, let's hear from the community about really what they need, right? Because you hear it in many informal ways. And oh, yep, it's okay, John, next slide. So we put out a survey. That's kind of how the first question is make sure, is there a need that we can really address? And so here's just a Wordle of showing what are some of the challenges that you're facing now? How do I find stuff? How do I edit stuff? How do I keep it affordable? How do I add supplemental? How do I make it relevant for their learning? So one, the survey of, really confirmed the needs that are out there in our faculty community. And next slide. And how are these needs not being met? Again, how do we provide relevant resources, adapting, right? Helping you find ways to use it, using the technology. How do I engage students? Again, confirming that the idea of a concierge who can help you solve your immediate problems in your class is what's needed. And next. And they will also ask, what's your level of interest, right? And you can see that the interest level is high. When you have, a large majority of people saying, I'm in the 8, 9, and 10 side of things of how this is important. So that's, again, these data helped us drive forward with what's the strategy we need to provide you to enable you to be successful. So next slide. And, do you want to learn more about this? And you're really, a large majority said yes. So with your data, driven by your interest and your needs, that's really how the concierge program partnering with MERLOT really came about. And I'm just really grateful for the insight, the hard work, and the amazing capabilities that O'Donnell Learn can help bring to you. And with this, what I'd like to do is just, and this is just John Fauci, who I work with over the years in many ways, is just a wonderful leader in O'Donnell Learn. And so John, I'm going to pass it over to you now so we can really explain more about the availability of concierge for MERLOT.
All right, Jerry, thank you. And let me say before I get going, yeah, Jerry has mentioned that we've partnered, worked together, collaborated on various things. I won't say for how long, because we've been around for quite a while. But it is always great to work with Jerry. His cognitive and learning theory background and application is what really speaks to me, and that's something that I'm really interested in as well through my research and so forth in instructional systems technology. And there's always a really great conversation to be had with Jerry about this, because we don't want to just throw resources at a learning environment. We want to understand how those resources support the instructional strategy and the pedagogical tenets that set the stage for effective and efficient learning. And when Jerry uses effective and efficient, learning, that is done specifically. That is not just him using words. That's what we're trying to do: create effective and efficient learning environments for our students, such that they can progress much faster and address the specific needs that they have. So, with that being said, how can we help faculty identify, curate, and contextualize MERLOT and Skills Commons resources? So, as Jerry points out, and as many of you probably already know, the resources are abundant between MERLOT and Skills Commons, right? And there's a lot of media in there, everything from virtual... Siri's listening to me. There's a lot of things in there related to virtual labs and other types of media. But as we know, and something that's very important to us as educators, if we go back over 100 years, about 100 years ago, Thomas Edison was saying that motion pictures will play a major role in classrooms of the future. Well, what happened? How come they're not there today? How come our students aren't sitting in the front of a movie with some popcorn and learning, right? Well, there's a lot of things to consider here. There's scale, there's cost, there's context of the media that's associated with these movies, but most importantly is instructional design, right? Because if you follow the arguments in the literature between most profoundly through Clark and Cosma, they looked at over 70, 80 years, up to 100 years of media research today to understand, does media and their attributes have important influences on the cost or speed of learning, right? And of the hundreds of reviews, research, no. The outcome is the use of adequate instructional methods will influence learning and how we apply these resources in an instructionally sound manner. So, to Jerry's point, MERLOT and Skills Commons, there's a lot of recipes out there. There are a lot of ingredients, but how do we help faculty integrate these resources in a manner that is contextually aligned with the subject matter experts' goals and objectives, as well as the goals and objectives of the course, right? So what I will focus on today is the Faculty Concierge and how it works, building on some of Jerry's themes, but making you aware of how the Faculty Concierge can support you by reducing the time and effort associated with designing and developing your course and giving you more time back to you so that you can spend it with your students or even just get caught up in your personal life. So let me start here by saying this. O'Donnell Learn, we invest a lot into our market research, predominantly in faculty support and instructional design development and other aspects of faculty and student success. Our initial research into these areas, well, I shouldn't say initial, but our ongoing research, more recently between, I'd say, 2020 through today, what we found is, or what we asked was, we asked the question, how much time are faculty spending on creating and iterating their courses throughout the semester? As a result, we found out that faculty are spending about 150 hours a semester just iterating and maintaining their courses. Then we asked, okay, well, where are they spending their time? Many of the faculty are simply trying to recreate their classroom-based course online. And this isn't new news to us. Another 25% or so are actually innovating their courses to address the new types of online hybrid, high flex, and various other modalities, whereas the other 25% are just sitting still. So the point here is, how can we help faculty increase the quality of their courses, right? Contextualize these courses for the various modalities in which they're teaching, and give them back more time. So what we've created as a result of all of this research and the feedback from our Nectar design panel, which includes about at any one time, anywhere between 60 to 100 active faculty and higher education administrators, leaders, and so forth. But what we found from them and through this panel is that faculty are looking for 24/7 support, immediate support, tactical support, so that when they call in at 6 a.m. in the morning before their 8 a.m. course and they can't get a video segmented to the point where they need to deliver it in the class that day, they're looking for someone to help them, and we can do that. So using that as an example, the Faculty Concierge is a 24/7 personalized faculty support service. We reach out to faculty in a proactive manner as well as in a reactive manner. So proactively throughout the semester, and using some of Jerry's terminology, we'll send out recipes in the form of tools, guides, templates to help faculty create quality syllabi to enhance their online discussions, create more authentic activities and assessments. And we'll pace these types of proactive outreach throughout the semester. Now, as far as requests are concerned, faculty can reach us again 24/7, either through phone call, email, chat, or Zoom, 24/7. And at that time, they will reach one of our 160 plus learning experience designers. Now, our learning experience designers, most of them are either adjunct faculty or full-time faculty, but have learning experience design expertise. So when a faculty member calls in, they can be paired with someone with similar subject matter expertise. They're working with a peer, and also someone who can help them with learning experience design. These services are supported with, as I mentioned earlier, a repository of resources that are captured in what we call Nectar. More specifically, one of our modules in Nectar called Search or Find. And you can find all of these different resources and tools, templates, and so forth. Let me move on here. So let's say a faculty member calls in and they're speaking through a Zoom conference and there's a consultation. Think about this, how many times you've had to run around the institution to find the right resource to help you with your specific instructional strategy and need, right? Whether it's accessibility, whether it's curating and contextualizing resources, assessment support. When we work with the faculty through the Faculty Concierge, all of those skill sets and expertise are available to the faculty when they're working with a learning experience designer, okay? This might happen through one learning experience designer who has multiple types of expertise here, or we might pair them with another one. But as we start to talk about the affordable learning support and how we're gonna handle that through Concierge, what you're looking at right now is our base Concierge offering with all of these services available to the faculty as we're working with them. And a key component to this discussion is also the ability to consult faculty on MERLOT resources as well as Skills Commons resources. We will help faculty identify, curate, and apply these resources in a contextualized manner so that the faculty has the level of support to go everything from find to integration into their course. Now that faculty will find that very helpful because it will reduce their time to trying to find open educational resources and high quality resources, right? Which is another area that we found when working with faculty, that a lot of that 150 hours per semester, updating and iterating their courses, is spent on trying to find appropriate resources and work them into their courses. So again, in summary here, our baseline concierge services is being enhanced for this audience, for the MERLOT audience, so that we can provide you with specific support, again, on identifying, curating, and integrating these resources in a contextualized manner. What I'm going to do here is I want to bring up that while this is a very, very personalized service support model, we do leverage our underlying technology called Nectar. Nectar allows us to work more in a personalized manner and on a scaled manner so that we can support many faculty. And we can provide resources to faculty that they can use and implement on their own or in consultation with one of our learning experience designers. And so what I'd like to do right now is take you into one module of our technology, our Nectar technology, and it's called Portfolio. And Portfolio will allow us to understand much about you and your preferred instructional strategies, the pedagogical approaches that you prefer, as well as when you're available to work with our consultants. But also what you can see down here is specific content and tools, right? So after a consultation with John Falchi, the learning designer or one of our concierge agents went in and dropped in appropriate content related to what John was trying to accomplish in his course. So for example, I was trying to create or understand techniques for developing micro lectures here. What we would like to do for the MERLOT community is after we've consulted you, guided you, helped you to find MERLOT resources and/or skills commons, help to curate them here, and then begin to consult you on how to contextualize them into your course. So we'll leverage this technology to communicate with you, to collaborate, to consult you on specific types of ways that you can integrate these content into your course, again, in a contextualized manner, rather than looking at this content and saying, oh my goodness, it is math content, but it's not doing what I want it to do or what I need it to do. We can help you get it there to that point. And so this is, again, Portfolio, which is one module of what we call our Nectar learning technology, our Nectar technology, excuse me. The other component, as I mentioned earlier, is a module called Discover. And this is where you'll have the ability to go in and search for all types of resources that we have curated related to instructional design, development, implementation, and so forth. So for example, if I was looking for resources related to how to create a discussion, I would do a search here. And we're going to see all these available resources, and I could then drop them into my specific portfolio if I wanted to at this point. Once we start to curate and identify resources for your specific portfolio, you'll be able to go into your portfolio again and identify those resources and integrate them into your course. So that's Discover. It's very powerful. It allows us to do search on types of resources, whether they're tools, templates, guides, methodologies, instructional strategies, UDL. There's also Quality Matters resources in here. And really important is our Purposeful Learning Framework. You can do a search for that in here as well. Our Purposeful Learning Framework integrates various instructional design methodologies to create a more personalized, inclusive, and engaging learning. And we can talk more about that another time, but our Purposeful Learning Framework allows faculty to move more quickly in the design and development and delivery of quality instructional activities, assessments, and so forth. So that being said, I'm going to try to get back to the presentation. And what I do at this point is open it up if there are any initial questions related to what I'm sharing here.
And you could just pop those questions in the chat since we have over 100 people online. And as while you're thinking about a question for John, I just want to reinforce some points that John is making around the contextualization of content for your courses is one of the tremendous values that Concierge can provide you. Because you know more about your students than anyone else, right? Okay, and so John, we have a question. Does Concierge integrate with all types of LMSs?
That's a great question. I'm going to take that from two perspectives, Gloria. I think that was
Yep, Gloria.
Yep. And so here's how this works. You can gain access to the concierge support service through many ways. And I'm glad you asked this question because I didn't get to it. I failed to get to it. You can ask for support. We can create a button in your learning management system, which is where most faculty are doing most of their work throughout the day. You can click on that button and you'll be presented with different options to contact the concierge and get a level of service. We can also create landing pages at your institution where faculty can go to get in contact with the learning management, with the concierge services. Now, does it integrate with all types of learning management systems? The tools, templates, and various resources that we have within Nectar, they are basically created so that faculty can take those resources, work on them, and they will be ingested directly into any learning management system. It's not through an LTI or some other type of technical integration. And I want to make one more point here that the concierge and Nectar is not intended to replace the learning management system. It isn't an instructional delivery or learning delivery system. It is a system that is built more to support faculty and help them be more efficient and effective in creating their learning assets, activities, and overall environment. So you can take these resources and ingest them directly into your learning management system. Does that help? I wanted to be sure that I hit that from three different ways because there's a lot of importance in that question. So thank you. Great. Okay. Thanks. Any additional questions? Okay. Jerry, you're mic'd, muted.
Sorry. And Gloria, I think that in John's responses, you can think about in Nectar, their Discover thing is like a recipe book for all the different effective pedagogical strategies that I can bring to the table. And having that library of educational practices is, again, like, how do I cook a recipe I've never done before? And that's often what we've been faced for. And being able to have easy access to that. And then if you need to talk to someone, a learning experience design person, then you can have that conversation. And that combination, I think, why is MERLOT working with O'Donnell Learn on this, on the concierge, is we think that's the combination of services, along with all the resources that the MERLOT and Skills Commons brings to the table that can help you. And John, I think now we're getting some other questions about how much does this personalized support service cost? And Great. We're getting to those slides there. Okay, great. I'm going to go back, but to Jerry's point, what I just did there was from a recipe perspective. Let's say a recipe is a methodology, instructional strategy, or pedagogy. I did a search for UDL, Universal Design for Learning. Pulled up some resources. I could do that for our
purposeful learning framework, I could do that for Quality Matters and various others to look at recipes. And then also look at ingredients, tools, resources, content that have been created to support those types of recipes or methodologies. So before I get into the pricing, which won't take very long, and I'm happy folks are interested in that, I just want to say, due to the way that we've created the Faculty Concierge services and the underlying technology that enables us to scale this personalized faculty support system, we're able to modify it, play around with it in different configurations to support institutional needs. So just like we've done this for the MERLOT community and our ability to leverage our expertise and faculty concierge agents to support identification, selection, and so forth, curation, and contextualization, we're able to look at this in different ways for different institutional needs, as I just said. So for example, at Northeastern University, one of their departments is pretty much 100% adjunct faculty, and they needed support in semester startup for these folks and iterative design and delivery, because the subject matter experts that they were bringing into the institution, well, they're subject matter experts in their field. They're renowned in their field, but they're not instructional designers and they're not necessarily online instructors. So they look to us to help them with semester startup and iterative design for their adjunct faculty. At Miami-Dade, we're doing focused course quality and personalization combined with iterative design. What does that mean? We're leveraging our base concierge services, similar to what we're doing, placing emphasis on MERLOT and Skills Commons. We're putting emphasis on targeted or prioritized course enhancements for Miami-Dade College. And you can see how our approach allows us to be very dynamic and very specific to the institutional needs. Okay, so how to sign up for concierge and what does it cost? Well, we know there's a lot of you out there that are interested in this level of support through our research survey activities that Jerry shared with you. There's basically a landing page. If you go to www.odlearn.com, you can see that URL there. I think one of our teammates will place that into the chat area so that you can go there. You can review the description of the services. When you do that, when you submit your interest, a concierge agent will contact you to schedule an intake session. And the bottom line is the plan is $85 per month per faculty member. And when you sign up for this, you can start and stop on your own time. We're very flexible in that manner. But again, if you go to this landing page, it'll help you, it'll guide you through signing up and learning more, and someone will reach out to you, probably Jordan, who kind of introduced us all this morning. And we'll reach out to you and see what your interest is and help you get moving. Any questions there? Question,
yeah.
How does relevant to teacher training institution?
And Mark, yes, MERLOT actually has an extensive amount of resources in teacher ed. We have an editorial board in that area for many years. So if you go into MERLOT and if you want to browse the collection, you can click that button in navbar, and education is one of the major categories. And then there's educational leadership. And then you'll probably look at teaching methods has the large majority of stuff there. So you can look at those things there. So.
And there's another question here from Brenda. When you search for the resource, what library does it connect to? Are these OER resources? So Brenda, my strong assumption here is that you're talking about the Nectar resources, and that is our answering. Oh, I see someone's trying to answer it. Okay, so when you search for the resources, are these OER resources? Yes, everything. Let me offer that if you have access to our Nectar platform, specifically that supports our concierge services. If you have access to our concierge services and you go in and search for a resource, you are able to download that as an OER resource where you can use it, manipulate it, and integrate it into your course. Our repository is our repository. We own and maintain it. We do have other open educational resources that we do identify and review before we bring it into the Nectar platform and into our Discover module. So I hope that answers your question. You are able to use these as open educational resources. And as you probably know already, the MERLOT resources, as Jerry said, are open educational resources. So as we help you identify, curate, and integrate them into your course, you're free to use them as you would.
Right. And Brenda, I think this is one of an important kind of decision that O'Donnell Learn made, is recognizing that these templates, for example, do need to be contextualized by you and your institution. So by putting a Creative Commons license on it to allow you to modify that for your purposes is really fits in with that mind frame. So you can, as again, reuse just as is, or revise, remix, retain, or redistribute. Those are the 5 R's for the open education resources. All right.
Well, I don't know if we're here yet, but any additional questions? And I see Brenda says, yes, thank you. You're welcome.
All right. And if I could add a comment here too, is that the concierge, at a hotel, might be, their purpose is to help you find things, whether it's in the hotel or the local area, right? And the concierge is within concierge for MERLOT, focused in on the instructional design is their highest expertise. But what I'll also say is, when you talk to another human being, right, as part of the O'Donnell Learn's community of experts, there are going to be other elements in the conversation that come up. And I think that's something that is one of the strengths of a concierge, is they're there to help you. And sometimes they may not know the answer, but they can give you ideas of how to go find the answer. So, concierge can't do everything. Their main focus is going to be on supporting that instructional design, solving your immediate needs effectively and efficiently. But having connections with human beings really can make a difference there. So, John, I hope I didn't, expand the scope of the responsibilities, but just recognizing
that's
that
right on target.
Yeah, that's the critical element, that the research that O'Donnell Learn has done, it says, what are the need? And those who know me know my motto is give a gift and not a burden. Yeah. And that's what concierge is trying to do, is kind of give you that gift so you can be successful in your classroom.
Exactly. And I don't want to belabor that point, but that's, as we said earlier, the objective of the concierge is to reduce the time that faculty are spending on finding, contextualizing these resources, as well as spending time on technology issues that can be satisfied by a concierge agent or some other person to reduce the time that the faculty are spending on ongoing iteration of their courses, giving them back more time as a gift, Jerry, to your point, but also more time to spend with students, right? And or catch up on your personalized schedules, on your personal schedules as well. Because we've all, over the last 2 years or so, have been really going at it pretty hard, right? So, Brenda, thanks for that feedback. Absolutely, Jerry and John need to have the flexibility of the exercise and to exercise the 5 R's. You're certainly welcome. Is it possible to walk us through an example, Tammy? Suppose a teacher wanted to teach integration by parts in calculus. Integration by parts in calculus. I think this might help you better understand this, Tammy. I'll go through it, give you, put more meat on the bone, if you will, if I take you through a use case of someone calling in and the concierge working with them, right? So let's say, for example, Professor Jackson called in, and this isn't your specific example or your subject matter expertise, but what I will say is when Professor Jackson calls in, we have a really good understanding of who he is, the general things about Professor Jackson, but we also understand which institution he's working at and whether or not there are any specific policies, templates, things that we should be using there. But also, and more importantly, we understand Professor Jackson's pedagogical needs, where Professor Jackson believes his course enhancement needs are, so we can get right to work on that and helping him to work through based on the instructional delivery that he's currently working in, either remote, hybrid, or some other mode of delivery. And then also we understand some of the instructional strategies that Professor Jackson has employed in his course and the various learning technologies. This all helps us to better understand Professor Jackson and how he likes to teach. The other app that is proprietary to our Nectar platform, the first one was Profile that I just showed you. The second one is what we call Discover. And this is where we can search for those resources, to your point. I forget what the discipline was. I can only see one screen right now, but let me see. Integration, I think, was part of it. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Let's do something like, let's just go back to discussion, right? And I can see resources here. So let's say Professor Jackson in a real use case is interested in creating more vibrant discussions, more engagement during his discussions. So we find these resources. Boom. I want to add them to his portfolio while we're talking because he really wants to use these resources and thinks they'll benefit him. So I add them to his portfolio. And then what I can do here, and this would be similar to if Professor Jackson was looking for some MERLOT resources. We would find them and add them to his portfolio. So now I go out to his portfolio and I can see that these resources have been added to his portfolio. Now I can continue as the learning designer or as one of our concierge agents to work with Professor Jackson to incorporate this resource into his course, depending on how he wants to do that and what his instructional objectives are and or learning objectives. So that's kind of a brief use case on how that works. I'm going to stop the share and see.
John, there's two questions about how do you apply QM within the instructional design support.
Great question. Great question. So I'll address that from the services perspective. So when a faculty member calls in or we're working with them in consultation, our learning designers are trained expert in quality matters. Not all of them, not the whole 160 plus, but if the faculty or the instructor is interested in applying quality matters to their course, whether it be from a syllabus or completely across the course, we will team that faculty member up with one of our Quality Matters specialists and to consult on, are they looking to redesign their whole course in Quality Matters? And we'll do an instructional design consultation and make them aware of how they can enhance the course to meet Quality Matters, and or guide them in specific types of Quality Matters activities or assessments or things like that. So it can be at the course level, or it can be at a specific activity or instructional element level, depending on what the faculty member is trying to choose. So we have the resources, the expertise in Quality Matters, and we can guide, consult, and collaborate with a faculty member to take a resource or the course more specifically to bring it up to Quality Matters standards.
And John, another one in there is if an institution has an interest in this presentation given to them for their institution, are we available to do that?
Of course.
I was going to say.
No, we're not into, of course. Yeah. Let me, I'm going to go back to the presentation slide so that I can bring up, and that doesn't mean our conversation has to end now. But let me share this and we'll go back. And I want to make sure that you have our information. Jerry, you jinxed me earlier when you said, let's see if John can handle the technology.
Sorry, John.
Appreciate that. Okay. Let's do this. Escape, please. Oh, there we go. And then share screen. Yeah, it's not allowing me to, let me do anything. Yeah, while I'm doing this, Jared.
Oh, sure. And I'll just say, yes, the concierge process has been designed based on your needs. So what you need at your institution and how we can develop strategies that are right for your context, happy to do that. And it can be both, thinking about bringing affordable learning strategies by using open education resources, like in that the calculus example. There's a bunch of resources that are free and available in MERLOT and Skills Commons for Calculus, and then the concierge service, so you can help reduce the cost of educational content for your students and make sure you're supporting your faculty effectively with the concierge services in a timely, tactical way. So those are, again, ways that we're, happy to help support you. All right. And what I'll do, John, what we do too is we could put our emails in the in the chat so people can just grab them there too. So they're welcome to contact us as well there. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great, because I'm not exactly sure what's going on with Zoom right now, and I'm going to say it's Zoom because I know Zoom. I'll put mine down here as well. So yeah, let me just say again, we can get going as quickly as you'd like from a faculty perspective. We can look at this from a departmental level. We also have incentives for faculty who identify other faculty who might want to participate, or other areas or other departments or institutions. We're very flexible in that area and would really appreciate your support in that. And we do have incentives. And if you're interested in those, feel free to reach out to us. And I'm putting my contact information in here as well. And I guess, thank you for a very informative, unfortunately, I think we're hitting that 1 hour.
We're at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
So with that, John, I'll say something and I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, sure.
We really appreciate you participating today. Feedback, ideas of what we can do to serve your needs better. That's how we continue to innovate, right? Because the needs change. So we're really happy. Thank you for being here. Send us feedback. And if you want to give us a try, let us know and we'll eagerly help support you. And John, pass it to you.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry, I appreciate that. I'm not going to try to expand upon that. I think you nailed it as always. But thank you for joining in today. The interest is there. We look forward to hearing from you, and we can move as quickly as you'd like to start up and ramp up, either at the individual faculty level or at a department level, institutional level, whatever you see fit. And if you just have questions for more follow-up, feel free to reach out, like Jerry said, and we are happy to tag team another presentation for your institution, specific to your institution. So thank you.